So, yes. Rather than my usual Saturday live stream, this week you're getting my album pre-launch live Q&A style live stream this week. So you'll get to have a chat through everything about what's going on with my album and stuff. So this is only dedicated to my album. It does not run like my usual Saturday lives, which is why I'm on a little bit later than I usually would be. That's just how I've scheduled it for today. So you could technically class this as my Saturday live stream, but rather than focusing on things that are usually coming up in the week ahead, no, instead it's just focused on my album this time, which is why it's called the album pre-launch live instead. So yeah, I should. I mean, it's supposed to be that like when I go live, it's supposed to have like a big red stuff and things like it's going off, but you'll just have to put up with it. Internet connection's rubbish, always has been. Just waiting for everyone to start joining in. That's really all I'm waiting for, and then we can get started with the official kickoff of everything with my album. So the date, which is coming out literally today, well tonight anyway. So yeah, this is all just dedicated just to my album. So any questions you do have will just have to be related to the album and only my album. This is for the flow of I don't know. Hello, and welcome to the album pre-launch live video. Rather than doing my usual Saturday live that I usually would, this week is a little bit different with it being the launch of my official album. Yes, that's correct. This is all dedicated just to my album and only my album. So, hello to all of you just tuning in. Welcome to my album's pre-launch. Now, any questions you do ask are only going to be related to my debut album. That's all you'll get off of me, answer-wise. This is not like my usual Saturday live. No. Instead, this is all just dedicated to my album. That's all I'll say. So that's what this is. This is my album's pre-launch instead. And what I will do is I'll play through some of the tracks as well as we go through live if anyone would like to have a little pre-listen to what is coming for my debut album. This is part of my debut album launch. Any questions that you do have to be dedicated just to my album. It's about my album. I've said it like a billion times already. This is all about my debut studio album entitled as Flow of the Day, which is literally releasing later on tonight. So I thought, why not just do a live stream that is fully dedicated just to my album rather than doing my usual Saturday live. And you'll get a little bit of a listen to what's coming up with this album a little bit later on. That is not relevant to the questions I am genuinely asking for, so that will not be answered. This album specifically, it's just about my album. Any questions you have to be about my album. This is a album-based Q&A rather than anything else. That's all I'll put in there. This is just an album-based Q&A for my album Flow of the Day. The story for the album really technically kicks off quite quickly. Actually, the whole story leading up for the album was just about like things that people can go through on certain days and stuff. That was like the whole plot line behind every single track of the album. So that is pretty much the whole story behind my album. It starts off with Super Snooze, which takes place not long after the events of the Arts EP. So this all takes place straight after the Arts and Crafts EP and follows on in a sort of daily life sort of storytelling set. Obviously, you'll have to listen to the full album when it releases to get the plot line correctly and stuff. So yeah, I won't reveal too much about the storyline. It's just an album. So that is the story set up for this specific album. It takes place after the Arts and Crafts EP. It's a studio album that is releasing later on tonight. Few of the tracks. I might tease the 13 tracks of this album whilst on this live stream at this moment. So you'll get probably a little bit of a listen to what is to come. So it's not like a specific live album, it will be just a studio album, but you'll get to at least listen to a little bit of it track by track as we go along. So stay tuned for that, as that will come up very shortly. You'll get to have a quick listen to each and every track one by one. So it's a 13 tracked album that is releasing later on tonight. It comes out officially at midnight. Personal experiences, it's not really personal to me itself, it's like a preset storyline that I just randomly came up with that ties in with what I did for the Arts and Crafts EP. So it's the same character from the Arts and Crafts EP that's taken on this journey through this debut album. So it's all based and attached to my Arts and Crafts EP that I dropped just before that. Yeah, it's all about that. It's all just tied to that. So it's not really personal. There isn't really a core theme per se, but like the main plot line is that it just takes place after the Arts and Crafts EP. We've got all sorts of different genres to it. Like there's a rock song, there's some pop songs, there's some R&B in there, there's some lo-fi in there. So a little bit of like all sorts of different genres. So like based on that, like the main theme for Super Snooze is like resting. Sunrise, I think that's an easy title to pick up the storyline of. Then we've got Peaceful Morning, we've got Driving, Shopping Spree, Home Return, Rainy Afternoon, Flood, Flow of the Water, Far Away, River, The Rock, The Boy on a Rock, and then that's about it. So yeah. How did I choose the songs that made the final cut? Ooh, that's a good one. I guess it was just how I thought of the plot line anyway, originally. Like, this has took me quite a while to produce, and with that, I think for the final cut, it kind of just made sense in what I was doing with the Arts and Crafts EP and getting it tied. But like, The Boy on the Rock literally ties into my second album, which is releasing in a few, which is in a little bit later on in time. So yeah, this will be all tied up in one big era of albums before I move on to my third. So yeah, it's like I just chose based on which ones fit the most, I guess. That's like the most big part of the thing and the plot lines and things. After this album, it will be straight to my second album, which is releasing in September. And that one pretty much takes place straight after Flow of the Day and is pretty much called Daily Things. That's more like a more realistic daytime progression sort of theme. And for that album, I won't give you much detail other than that obviously I'll do a live launch for that when it comes a bit closer to that time. So yeah, for me, in terms of this, it's just one big era. So we've already had Arts and Crafts EP, then it's Flow of the Day, my debut, and then I'll move on straight over to my second album in September. Then before releasing my EP, near around about Christmas in this somewhat in December, will be my next EP before moving on to a bit of a break in music making, and then it will be straight to my third album after the release of the EP. The emotional impact is, I wouldn't say that it's very well, some of the tracks are pretty more emotional by the fact that some of them are pretty much ballads. Like Flow of the Water is a ballad. So I guess like it depends on how others may feel about it. Like each each song has its own sort of flaw in trying to bring in like an emotional. It's not really emotion personally impacted from myself. It's story sort of thing. So I don't know really how to describe like the feelings and emotional impacts of it. But what I will do is probably play some of the teasers or some of the tracks and just see what you think. I guess it's like better to do it that way. It's not really, yeah, it's hard to do it. That's a teaser. Not teasing it yet. Like for Super Snooze, it was like about rest and being able to rest after long days. So I guess like basic moments of the songs. So my favorite songs out of this album specifically are Sunrise, Home Return, Rainy Afternoon, Far Away. Flow of the Water is definitely one of my favorites because that one was actually me and my own specific feelings of like just darker things. So I guess like a lot of it is just different. So like I can't really pick out any specific lyrics that would be the best. I think you'll just have to listen to the full album when it comes out later on to sort of figure out the whole plot. So yeah, it's just down to the listeners to decide like how they see and how they picture the visuals of this album. Really is like what I'm trying to get at. Any further questions before we get launching into the teasers? Because I might drop a few. Rises is one of my faves. Not just the intro song. Just to see my cloudy breath far away. Just can't stop singing it now. I'm just waiting for further answers from anyone else. Please share this as well with some others so they can ask a few questions. Thank you for the sharing. For anyone that has just tuned in, I'm just covering everything with my album at the moment. So feel free to ask questions about my album and I'll get it through. That's like all we're doing, really, for this. And I'll drop a few little track stuff. I might actually play it in the background. So while it plays it actually in the background, I'm going to play it in the background. So while it plays in the background, you can easily ask some of the questions further for the album. So currently teasing the tracks of Super Snooze. So that is the album's cover that I created. That is my own official artwork, by the way. So that is for Super Snooze, and that's for the entire album. That is the entire album's artwork. I'm going to flip it back over now. There you go. Hello to anyone that has just literally missed out. Currently focusing on my album's release at the moment. But please feel free to share this live. Ask any questions you have about my album, and I'm sure to answer your questions. Because this is just for this album's launch. So I've just dropped Super Snooze's first little teaser. Second track I'm going to tease is Sunrise, which is one of my favorites. I saw the sunrise this morning, that orange glowing sky, the hue of pinks and purples, softness of clouds in the sky, sunrise. That's all you're getting. That's Sunrises teaser. Next one, Peaceful Morning. That's Peaceful Morning's teaser. This one is Driving's teaser. Keys in a bowl by the front door. Grab my wallet, check my phone once more. Half tank, but we still gon' roll. Fist in my head, got a clock to fill. Let's go. Back out the driveway slow. The main road, same old house in a neat little row. Left at the school, kids racing the bell. I'm racing the sale, that discount still just Hello. So that's Driving's teaser. Shopping Spree. Sliding through the glass doors, cold air on my face. Grab a silver basket, join the Saturday. So currently doing my album. That's it for that one. Next one is Home Return. Plastic bags in the backseat, half price dinner on the floor, man. Talking to myself at a red light, like somebody gonna talk back. Street signs feel like reruns, same turn, same late night lane. Check my phone at a stop sign, no new name, same old name. All this whole return, got a full car, empty chest. All this space to turn, still I'm hugging just one headrest. All this whole return, I keep driving through the quiet in my mind. Every mile I learn how alone I've been this whole time. So that's Home Return. Next one is Rainy Afternoon. This is where it usually. This is the bit where it gets more personally emotional. Clouds have turned gray and together. Thunder is rumbling now. Rain is coming down. What is going on? And that's Rainy Afternoons teaser. Next teaser after that is Flood. Water in the hallway, mud across the floor, family photos floating like they're heading for the door. Sirens in the distance. And that's Floods. Next is my number one fave, Flow of the Water. Said my name like it was nothing, passed it around like it was cheap. It's went in too deep. I heard the stories in the hallway, same old smile with sharpened teeth. So that's the teaser for Flow of the Water. Next teaser, Far Away. And hello to everyone just tuning in right now. So this is Far Away's teaser. Let's play right now. So I made my step and left. I don't need no more rest. Walking far away, far away. Just to clear my cloudy brain. Far away, far away. So that's Far Away's teaser. Next is River. That's all you get for River. Next one is The Rock, the semi-final track of the album. And that's that. Final track, The Boy on the Rock. That's it. That's all you're getting. Check out Flow of the Day when it releases later tonight to get the full entire listen without any skipping, and you'll get the storyline much better. So now you've had your little teasers into the official album. It is releasing tonight at exactly midnight. You may have seen that I dropped a little teaser before going live into what to expect by dropping a little teaser to Boy on the Rock. Went with it. So yeah, that is my official album's teasering done and dusted. If there are any further questions, feel free to ask away now before I go off. Otherwise, I'll just leave live and I'll leave you to enjoy my album when it releases later tonight. So that's all I'm going to do now, is just leave it up to you to ask any further questions for the album. And if you don't have any, then you can pretty much let me go. So I have put up a little interactive tag on the screen that you'll see. It just says ask questions about my album. If you have any questions, then you don't really put an answer in, you'll just put it in the chat. This is the next part to it. So if you've got any further questions you wish to ask about my album, ask away now. So you've got your chance to ask questions about my album. To anyone just tuning in, hello there and welcome to the album pre-launch live. You've missed quite a bit, but I'm sure you'll catch up eventually. Just reminding you what it's all about, because this is just about my album. Let me guess, no one has any questions about my album? Because if that's the case, then I'll literally end off the live now. And I will say and state that my normal, usual Saturday live stream will be back up and running as normal. This week's was cancelled because I decided I was going to do my album launch one. So yeah, I'm going to call this one over. Thank you for tuning in and getting a little bit of a pre-look and pre-listen into everything that's going on with my album. I'll see you all in the next live.